Injured biker saved by nurse and returned as a man who would change her life. Jessica Miller was finishing her third consecutive shift when she heard the crash that made the entire hospital shake. Her aching legs protested as she ran towards the courtyard, where a motorcycle was destroyed against the side wall of the building. The deafening noise still echoed in her ears as she knelt beside the fallen biker. The black helmet was cracked, and blood was trickling through the cracks in the asphalt. Without hesitating, Jessica checked his vital signs while yelling for a stretcher. "Are you conscious? Can you hear me?" she asked, lightly touching his shoulder. The man groaned and tried to move, but she held his arm firmly. "Don't move, I'm going to take your helmet off slowly, okay?" When she finally removed the protective gear, Jessica was faced with a young face, messy brown hair, and green eyes that stared at her with a mixture of pain and despair. He couldn't have been more than 30. My daughter," he murmured, trying to get up again. "Easy. We need to take care of you first. What's your name?" "Michael. Michael Collins. I need to pick up my daughter from school." Jessica realized he was more worried about the child than his own injuries. This touched something deep in her heart. "Michael, I'm Nurse Jessica. We're going to take care of you, and then we'll call someone to pick up your daughter," agreed. The paramedics arrived and helped transport him to the emergency room. The entire way, Michael kept repeating his daughter's name and the school pickup time. Jessica wrote down all the information on a piece of paper. After 3 hours of surgery, Michael was stable but unconscious. Jessica used the break between patient care to call the school he had mentioned. "Hello, this is Nurse Jessica from Mercy General Hospital. I'm calling about Michael Collins. His daughter, Emily, she's here with us. Her father is never late. We were getting worried. He was in an accident, but he's okay. Is there a family member who can pick up the girl?" There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Actually, it's just him. Her mother passed away about 2 years ago. He always picks her up himself." Jessica's heart tightened. A child waiting for a father who couldn't come. "Listen, I get off in an hour. Can I stop by and explain the situation to her?" Jessica didn't know why she had offered. Normally, she kept her distance from patients' personal problems, but something about Michael had awakened her compassion. When she arrived at the school, she found a girl about 8 years old, sitting alone in the courtyard, swinging her legs on a bench. Emily had the same green eyes as her father, and a shy smile that turned to worry as Jessica approached. "Are you Emily? Your daddy asked me to come pick you up." "Where is he?" "He's never late." Jessica knelt in front of the girl, choosing her words carefully. "He had a little accident with his motorcycle, but he's okay. The doctors are taking care of him. Can you stay at my house tonight?" Emily nodded, although her eyes were full of held-back tears. On the way home, Jessica discovered the girl was more mature than she should be for her age. She said she helped her father with household chores and that he worked making deliveries to support the two of them. "My dad is the best biker in the world," Emily said proudly. "He never hits anything." "Accidents happen, sweetie. The important thing is that he's going to be okay." That night, after settling Emily on the living room sofa, Jessica returned to the hospital for the night shift. Michael had woken up and was agitated. "Where is my daughter? I need to know if she's okay." "She's at my house, safe. I picked her up from school." Michael looked at her with an expression of gratitude and relief that Jessica had never seen before. "Thank you? I don't know how to thank you. You don't even know me and—" "It's part of the job," she lied, knowing she had gone far beyond what was necessary. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like the video and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. In the following days, Jessica found herself visiting Michael outside of work hours. She brought him news of Emily and little by little learned more about his life. Michael told her he had lost his job at a logistics company 2 years ago, around the same time his wife left him. She said she couldn't handle the financial situation anymore, that she wanted a better life. And Emily? She chose to stay with me. She said I needed her more than her mother did. Jessica felt a lump in her throat. The girl was truly special. How did you manage to get the motorcycle for work? Michael averted his eyes. I borrowed money from an acquaintance. It wasn't a good idea, but I needed to work. There was something in the way he said it that made Jessica worried, but she didn't press the matter. During the recovery week, Michael was discharged, but his motorcycle had been completely destroyed. Without it, he couldn't go back to his delivery job. What are you going to do now? I don't know. I need money for another bike, but he didn't need to finish the sentence. Jessica knew he had no way of getting it. That night, she made a decision that would change everything. She withdrew part of her savings and bought a used motorcycle. It wasn't new, but it was in good condition. When she showed up at Michael's simple house with the motorcycle, he was speechless. I can't accept this. It's not a gift. It's a loan. You pay me back when you can. Jessica, this must have cost a fortune. Why are you doing this? She didn't know what to say. Why was she doing it? Maybe because I believe some people deserve a second chance. Michael hugged her, and Jessica felt something different, a connection that went far beyond the professional relationship between a nurse and a patient. In the following months, Michael managed to stabilize his finances. He paid for the motorcycle in installments and even had money left over to improve his and Emily's living conditions. The girl had grown fond of Jessica and called her aunt. Jessica started spending weekends at their house, helping with chores and enjoying their company. For the first time in years, she felt like part of a family, but the happiness was short-lived. One afternoon, when Jessica arrived at work, she found two people waiting for her at the reception, a tall man in a dark suit and a well-dressed blonde woman. Nurse Jessica Miller. We're from the legal department of Harris and Partners. We need to speak with you. Jessica's heart raced. About what? About Michael Collins and certain financial irregularities. They showed her documents proving that Michael had falsified information to get the loan for his previous motorcycle. The company that had lent him the money was suing him for fraud. What does this have to do with me? You purchased a motorcycle for him, correct? That could be considered complicity, depending on how the judge interprets the case. Jessica felt the floor drop out from under her. Had Michael lied to her? Furthermore, the woman continued, our investigators discovered that you used your own funds to benefit a former patient. This could constitute professional misconduct. Are you threatening me? We are merely informing you of the potential consequences, but there is a way out. The man handed her a document. If you cooperate with us by providing information about Michael Collins's activities, we can consider your involvement as involuntary. Jessica felt disgusted. They wanted her to betray Michael. Get out of here, now. When they left, Jessica ran to Michael's house. She needed to know the truth. Is it true? Did you forge documents? Michael lowered his head, defeated. Yes. I was desperate, Jessica. Emily needed me, and I couldn't get a job any other way. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew you'd pull away, and I was already falling for you. Emily appeared in the living room, sensing the tension in the air. Aunt Jessica, did Daddy do something wrong? Jessica looked at the girl and then at Michael. Her life was falling apart, but she couldn't abandon them now. No, sweetie, we're just talking about boring adult stuff. That night, Jessica couldn't sleep. In the morning, she found out her boss wanted to see her immediately. Jessica, some complaints have come in about your behavior with patients. Can you explain? The next 2 hours were the worst of Jessica's professional life. She had to explain every detail of her relationship with Michael, knowing her career was on the line. I'm going to have to suspend you while we investigate. I'm sorry, but those are the rules. Leaving the hospital, Jessica found Michael waiting for her. I heard what happened. It's all my fault. No, I chose to help you. No one forced me. Jessica, there's something you need to know. About the accident. Before he could continue, Jessica's phone rang. It was from Emily's school. The girl is sick. Can you come pick her up? At the hospital, they discovered Emily had appendicitis and needed emergency surgery. But there was a problem. Michael had no health insurance and couldn't pay for the procedure. Jessica used her contacts to get the surgery done through the public system, but the delay could be dangerous. Are you sure there's no other way? She asked the doctor. Only if someone covers the private costs, but we're talking about more than $10,000. Jessica looked at Michael, who was desperate, and at Emily, who was sleeping sedated. She made another decision that would change everything. I'll cover the costs. Michael tried to protest, but she had already signed the papers. The surgery was a success, but Jessica had used up her last savings. Now she was unemployed and broke. While Emily recovered, Michael finally told her the whole truth. The accident wasn't an accident. I was running away. Running from what? From the men I owed money to. I borrowed from loan sharks to buy the first motorcycle. When I couldn't pay, they started threatening me. Jessica felt a chill in her stomach. And then? That day they were following me. I sped up to get away and lost control of the bike. If it weren't for you, Michael, are you telling me you risked your life because of debts? I didn't know what else to do. They threatened Emily, Jessica. They said if I didn't pay, they'd go after her. Now everything made sense. Michael's desperation, his rush to get back to work, his excessive gratitude. And now? Do you still owe them? I managed to pay them off with the work from these past months. But they found out about you, about your help. Now they're interested in other things. What kind of things? Michael hesitated before answering. They want me to use my motorcycle to transport things. Things that aren't legal. Jessica felt the world spin. She had gotten involved with dangerous people without knowing it. Are you going to do it? I have no choice. If I refuse, they'll go after Emily. And now, they'll go after you too. At that moment, Jessica realized her life had completely changed. She was no longer just a nurse helping a patient. She was involved in something much bigger and more dangerous. There is another way out, she said, gathering her courage. What? We disappear. Michael looked at her as if she'd gone crazy. What do you mean, disappear? You, me, and Emily. Let's grab our things and get out of here. To another state, another place where they can't find us. Jessica, have you lost your mind? You have a life here, a career. What career? I was suspended because of you, and even if I'm reinstated, I'll never have peace again knowing you two are in danger. It was then that Emily woke up and heard part of the conversation. Are we going on a trip, Aunt Jessica? Jessica and Michael looked at each other. How do you explain to an 8-year-old that they were running from dangerous people? Maybe, sweetie, maybe we need to move to a different city. Because of the bad men Daddy told me about. Michael paled. Emily, I told you not to talk about that with anyone, but Aunt Jessica isn't just anyone, she's family now. Those words touched Jessica deeply. An 8-year-old had expressed what she was still trying to understand about her own feelings. All right, she said, making the final decision. We're leaving today. The next few hours were a complete rush. Jessica went to the bank, withdrew the little money she had left, and bought bus tickets to Denver. Michael sold his motorcycle to a scrapyard and gathered their most important belongings. Emily was excited about the adventure, not fully understanding the seriousness of the situation. At the bus terminal, while waiting for the bus, Michael held Jessica's hand. Are you sure about this? There's still time to turn back. No, there isn't. And even if there was, I wouldn't. Why? Jessica looked at him, and then at Emily, who was sleeping on her shoulder. Because for the first time in my life I feel complete. You two are the family I never had. The bus arrived, and they boarded for a new life. But not everything would be as simple as Jessica imagined. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like the video and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us creators who are just starting out. Now back to the story. In Denver, they rented a small house in the Highland Park neighborhood. Jessica got a job as an elderly caregiver, while Michael went back to work as a delivery driver. Emily adjusted well to her new school and seemed happy. For 6 months, they lived in peace. Jessica began to believe they had managed to leave the past behind. She and Michael had become a real couple, and Emily called her Mum. But one day, coming home from work, Jessica found Michael nervous at home. Did something happen? I think they found us. Jessica's heart raced. What do you mean? Today, when I went to pick up Emily from school, there was a man in a suit standing across the street. He was watching us. Are you sure? It could have been a coincidence. Jessica, I know that type of person. It wasn't a coincidence. That night, they barely slept. The next day, Jessica decided to skip work and stay home with Emily. Around 2 in the afternoon, the doorbell rang. Jessica peeked out the window and saw 2 men in suits at the door. Her blood ran cold. Michael, she whispered. He came running from the kitchen. Is it them? I don't know. I've never seen these men before. Good afternoon, said one of the men when Michael opened the door. We're private investigators. We're looking for Jessica Miller. She's not home. We know she is. We saw her come in a little while ago. Jessica appeared at the door, determined to face the situation. It's me. What do you want? We need to talk about a delicate matter. May we come in? No, speak right here. The taller man smiled unpleasantly. Do you know Amanda Collins? Jessica looked at Michael, confused. No, I've never heard that name. She's the girl's mother. She hired us to find her daughter. Michael turned pale. That's a lie. Amanda doesn't want anything to do with Emily. People change, Mr. Collins. Mrs. Amanda got married again, has financial stability now, and wants her daughter back. She abandoned the girl, shouted Michael. This will be decided in court. We have a court order to take the child. Jessica felt the ground collapse again. They had found a new way to torture the family. Where's the order? The man showed a document that looked official. The girl must come with us now. You can contest it in court later. No way, said Jessica, stepping between the men and the house. Ma'am, if you don't cooperate, we'll have to call the police. It was then that Emily appeared at the door, frightened by the shouting. Daddy, who are these people? One of the men crouched down to the girl's height. Hi, Emily. We're friends of your mommy. She really wants to see you. I don't want to see her. I want to stay with my daddy and my mommy, Jessica. Your real mother, sweetie. She misses you very much. Emily started to cry and ran to Jessica's arms. I don't want to go. I want to stay here. Jessica felt a fury growing inside her. You're scaring the girl. Get off our property now. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We have to carry out the order. Michael stepped forward, his fist clenched. No one is taking my daughter. Calm down, Michael, whispered Jessica. Let me handle this. She addressed the men with a calm she didn't feel. Listen carefully. I am a nurse, and I know when a child is in emotional distress. You can have as many orders as you want, but you are not going to traumatize this girl in front of me. Ma'am, you are obstructing justice. I am protecting a child. If you want to take her, you'll have to go through me first. The men looked at each other, apparently not expecting so much resistance. Very well. We will call the police and Child Protective Services. Go ahead, and when they arrive, they will find a united family and a happy child being threatened by 2 men who haven't even properly identified themselves. Jessica had learned to bluff during her years in nursing, dealing with aggressive family members. By the way, she continued, how did you know our address? That information isn't listed anywhere. The men hesitated. That doesn't matter. Of course it matters. Did you follow us, invaded our privacy? I'm sure that's against the law too. One of the men received a call on his cell phone and stepped away to answer. When he returned, he looked annoyed. Let's leave for today, but this isn't over. After they left, Jessica locked all the doors and windows. What do we do now? Asked Michael. We fight, but this time within the law. Jessica spent the night researching online about children's rights and custody. She discovered the order presented by the men had several irregularities. The next day, she sought out a public defender. Ma'am, this order is full of problems. First, it wasn't issued by a judge from our jurisdiction. Second, there's no proof that the mother has adequate conditions to raise the child. And what can we do? File for permanent custody. You are not related to the girl, but you can petition as an interested third party since you've been living with her as a mother for almost a year. Jessica left the office with renewed hope, but the fight was just beginning. In the following days, they discovered that Amanda had indeed married a rich man in New York. The new husband had demanded she bring her daughter to the new family. It's as if Emily were an object, said Michael, outraged. For these people, maybe she is. The situation got more complicated. when they found out Amanda had hired a law firm from New York to speed up the process. "They have money and influence," explained the public defender. "It's not going to be easy." For weeks, Jessica and Michael lived with the constant tension that Emily could be taken at any moment. The girl started having nightmares, and her school performance dropped. Then something unexpected happened. Amanda appeared personally in Denver, accompanied by her new husband. She wanted to see her daughter before the hearing. The meeting was scheduled at the courthouse, with social workers present. When Emily saw Amanda, her reaction was worse than anyone expected. She hid behind Jessica and started crying desperately. "Mommy, Amanda, please don't take me away. I like my life here." Amanda was visibly shaken by her daughter's rejection. "Emily, I am your real mother. Now we have a big house, you'll have toys, pretty clothes. I don't want any of that. I want to stay with Daddy and Mommy Jessica." Amanda's husband, a well-dressed middle-aged man, seemed impatient. "Amanda, she'll get used to it. Kids are always like this at first." Jessica couldn't take it anymore. "Excuse me, but you're talking about her as if she were a pet that can be taken from its natural habitat." "And who are you to talk about my daughter?" Amanda retorted. "I'm the person who took care of her when she was sick, who helped with homework, who dried her tears when she had nightmares. I'm the one she has called Mom for a year. You're a stranger who stuck your nose where it didn't belong." The argument was heating up when the social worker intervened. "Please, let's maintain civility. What's important here is the child's well-being." After assessing the situation, the social worker wrote a detailed report about Emily's emotional state and her adaptation to her current family. At the hearing weeks later, the judge heard from everyone involved. Amanda argued that she was the biological mother and had a right to her daughter. Her lawyer presented proof of income and financial stability. Michael defended that he had raised his daughter alone for 2 years after the mother abandoned her. Jessica asked to speak and surprised everyone. "Your Honor, I'm not here to take a daughter away from her mother. I'm here to defend a child's right to stay where she is happy and loved." She presented photos, drawings Emily had made of the family, and reports from teachers about the girl's progress. If Ms. Amanda truly loves her daughter, she should want what's best for her, even if that means letting go of her own will. The judge asked to speak with Emily alone. When she came out of the room 20 minutes later, she was calm. The decision was postponed for a week, while the judge analyzed all aspects of the case. During that week, something happened that changed everything. Amanda sought out Jessica at the hospital, where she had returned to work. "We need to talk." They sat in the hospital garden, silent for a few minutes. "Do you really love my daughter?" Amanda asked. "I love her as if she were my own daughter." "And is she happy with you?" "See for yourself. She's doing well in school, she has friends, she lacks for nothing." Amanda sighed deeply. "I made a terrible mistake when I left her. I was desperate, with no money, no prospects. I thought she'd be better off without me." "And why did you change your mind now?" "My husband said a family needs to have children, that it would be good for our social image." Jessica felt a pang of anger but controlled herself. "Amanda, are you thinking of taking Emily away from her life because of social image? When you put it like that, it sounds horrible." "That's because it is horrible." Amanda started to cry. "I miss her, Jessica, every day. But when I saw her yesterday, I realized she doesn't need me anymore. She has you. She will always need her biological mother, but maybe not in the way you're thinking." "What do you mean?" Jessica took a deep breath before making the proposal that would change everything. "What if you gave up custody, but remained part of her life? Regular visits, holidays together, a healthy mother-daughter relationship without the trauma of separation." Amanda was silent for a long time. "My husband won't accept this." "Then maybe he's not the right man for you." "It's more complicated than it seems, Jessica. Life is always complicated, but some decisions are right, regardless of the complication." On the day of the second hearing, Amanda surprised everyone by dropping the custody request. "Your Honor, after careful reflection, I realize my daughter is well where she is. I would only like to request a visitation schedule that is comfortable for her." Amanda's husband was furious and left the room, but she remained firm in her decision. The judge granted permanent custody to Michael, with Jessica recognized as the alternative legal guardian. Amanda would have the right to bi-weekly visits and alternating holidays. When they left the courthouse, Emily hugged both mothers. "Do I have two mummies now?" she asked. "Yes, you do, sweetheart," Amanda replied, with tears in her eyes. "And two mummies who love you very much." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. 6 months later, the new family dynamic was working well. Amanda visited Emily regularly and had separated from the husband who didn't accept her decision. Jessica and Michael got married in a simple ceremony at the courthouse, with Emily as the flower girl and Amanda present as a special guest. Life seemed perfect, but destiny still had a few surprises in store for them. 1 year after the wedding, Jessica discovered she was pregnant. The news brought immense joy to the whole family, especially for Emily, who had always wanted a little brother. But the pregnancy was complicated. Jessica needed to be on complete bed rest for the last 3 months, which prevented her from working. Michael doubled his shifts to make up for the loss of income, but there still wasn't enough money for the extra medical expenses. It was then that Amanda made an unexpected proposal. "Let me help with the costs, please." "Amanda, you already do so much for Emily," said Jessica. "You are family, and family helps each other in difficult times." Amanda not only helped with the medical costs, but also temporarily moved to Denver to take care of Emily while Jessica was on bed rest. The daily living brought the two women closer together in a surprising way. "You know, Jessica," Amanda said one afternoon, "I learned a lot watching you be Emily's mother. You taught me what maternal love really means. You taught me something important too." "What?" "That a mother's love can exist in many different forms. You love Emily enough to let her be happy, even if that means not having her all to yourself." The baby, a boy named Ethan, was born healthy after 12 hours of labor. Michael cried when he saw him for the first time, and Emily immediately fell in love with her little brother. Amanda offered to be Ethan's godmother, definitively sealing her entry into the extended family. In the following months, while caring for the baby, Jessica and Michael faced the typical challenges of new parents: the sleepless nights, the tight budget, the constant fatigue. But they had something many couples don't: a solid support network. Amanda helped with Emily on weekends, taking her on outings and giving the baby's parents a break. Emily had become an exemplary big sister, always wanting to help with Ethan. When Ethan turned 6 months old, Jessica returned to work. She had been promoted to nursing supervisor in recognition of her dedication and experience. Michael had also grown professionally. He had become a partner in a delivery company, using his experience and knowledge of the streets of Denver. Life was finally stable and happy. But then they received an unexpected visit. It was a Sunday morning when the doorbell rang. Jessica went to answer it, carrying Ethan in her arms. At the door was a man of about 60, well-dressed but with a dejected air. "Sorry to bother you. Are you Jessica Miller?" "Yes, I am. How can I help you?" "My name is Richard Peterson. I was married to Amanda Collins." Jessica recognized the name. It was Amanda's ex-husband, the one who had pressured them to bring Emily back. "Please come in. Would you like some coffee?" Richard came in but declined the coffee. He seemed nervous. "Where is Michael? I need to speak with both of you." Michael appeared from the kitchen, suspicious. "What do you want here?" "I came to apologize and to explain some things you need to know." They sat down in the living room. Richard took a deep breath before he began. "First of all, I want to apologize for the way I treated you during Emily's custody process. I was being selfish and manipulative." "Why are you saying this now?" asked Jessica. "Because Amanda told me everything. How you welcomed her, how you allow her to be part of Emily's life, how you included her in the family. You are better people than I ever was." Michael was still suspicious. "You didn't come here just to apologize." Richard lowered his head. "No, I came because I need your help." He explained that after his separation from Amanda, his life had fallen apart. He had lost a large part of his wealth in bad investments and was facing health problems. I found out I have pancreatic cancer. Advanced stage. Jessica felt a tightening in her heart. Even though she didn't like the man, her professional compassion spoke louder. Are you getting treatment? I am. But that's not all. The doctor said I have a few months left, and I need to make peace with my mistakes before I go. What do you want from us? Asked Michael, more gently now. I want you to allow me to get to know the children, not as a grandfather or a father figure, just as a family friend who wants to do something good before saying goodbye. Jessica and Michael exchanged glances. It was a difficult situation. We need to talk to Amanda first, said Jessica. She already knows. She's the one who gave me your address. That afternoon, after Richard had left, they called Amanda. Is he telling the truth about the illness? Asked Jessica. He is. I went with him to a doctor's appointment last week. It's serious, Jessica. And do you think we should let him spend time with us? Amanda was silent for a few seconds. Look, I'm not going to pretend I'm not angry with him for what we went through, but I also can't pretend I don't feel sorry for him. He has no one else. And Emily? She doesn't even know who he is. We can explain it gradually. She's a mature girl for her age. After much discussion, they decided to give Richard a chance. He started by visiting on Sundays, always bringing small gifts for the children. Emily was wary at first, but she gradually got used to his presence. Richard turned out to be a completely different person from the arrogant man they had known. The proximity of his departure had changed his perspective on what really matters in life. He told stories to Emily, helped Michael with the business using his entrepreneurial experience, and offered to pay for private treatments for Jessica when she developed back problems from constantly carrying Ethan. During the following months, Richard became a constant and beloved presence in the family. He was especially attached to Ethan, saying the baby brought him a peace he hadn't felt in years. When Richard started getting worse, it was Jessica who insisted he move into the back room of the house. I won't let you face this alone, she said. Why are you doing this for me, Jessica? After everything I did? Because it's the right thing to do, and because you've become family. Richard's last months were difficult, but full of love and care. He had the chance to see Ethan take his first steps and hear Emily read her first words. Amanda came every day after work to help with his care. Seeing the two women he had hurt in the past caring for him with such affection was, he said, the greatest lesson in humanity he had ever received. Richard passed away on a fall afternoon, surrounded by the entire family he had chosen in his final months. Emily held his hand and said she would miss the stories he used to tell. In his will, Richard left all his remaining inheritance to Ethan, but with one condition. The money was to be used to create a fund to help families in situations similar to what Michael and Jessica had gone through. He wanted others to have the second chance that you gave me, explained Amanda, who had been named the fund's administrator. 6 months after Richard's passing, the Second Chance Foundation was officially created. The fund helped families in financial hardship, but always prioritized keeping family bonds intact. Jessica became the foundation's volunteer president, using her experience as a nurse and her personal story to evaluate cases. Michael coordinated the logistical side, offering temporary work to unemployed parents through his network of delivery companies. Amanda handled the financial and legal aspects, ensuring each family received not just material help, but also guidance to solve their problems for good. Emily, now 12, helped with the foundation's fundraising campaigns, telling her own story to connect with donors. Ethan, at 3 years old, didn't really understand the family's work yet, but was already showing signs of having inherited his parents' compassion. The Second Chance Foundation grew quickly. Within 2 years, it had helped over 200 families in Denver and the surrounding area. But the case that impacted Jessica the most was that of a young nurse who had lost her job for helping a patient beyond what the regulations allowed. It's amazing how life works, Jessica commented to Michael. 5 years ago, I was that nurse. And if you hadn't done what you did, none of this would exist today. Jessica looked around the foundation's new headquarters, where dozens of volunteers were working to help other families. Amanda was explaining procedures to new volunteers, Emily was helping a child with homework in the kids' corner, and Ethan was sleeping peacefully in his stroller. "You know what amazes me the most," she said. "What?" "How one impulsive decision to help a stranger can transform so many lives." Michael smiled and kissed her forehead. "You didn't help a stranger that day. You helped your family. You just didn't know it yet." That night when they got home, Jessica found a letter that had arrived in the mail. It was from a family they had helped 6 months earlier. The letter said the father had gotten a permanent job, the daughter was doing well at her new school, and they had saved enough money to move into their own home. "Thank you for giving us a second chance," the letter said. "You saved our family." Jessica showed the letter to Michael, who was giving Ethan a bath. "Another family that managed to get back on their feet," he said, proud. "Sometimes I wonder if Richard was right when he said it was fate that led me to that motorcycle. Fate or not, you made the right choices." "We made the right choices," she corrected him. Emily appeared at the bathroom door. "Mom, can I sleep in your room tonight? I miss when it was just the three of us." Jessica laughed and opened her arms to her. "Of course you can, but now there are 5 of us, not 3. 6, corrected Emily. Mom Amanda is part of the family too." That night, the whole family slept together in the master bedroom. Ethan between Jessica and Michael, Emily nestled in Jessica's arm, and even Amanda had stayed over, sleeping on the living room couch after a foundation meeting that ran late. In the morning, as they all prepared breakfast together, Jessica looked at each person in the kitchen. Michael was humming while making scrambled eggs, Ethan was clapping in his high chair, Emily was helping Amanda cut fruit, and she herself was making the coffee. It was a family unlike any traditional standard, built not by blood or convenience, but by conscious choices of love and mutual care. 5 years after that accident that changed everything, Jessica knew she had found her life's purpose. It wasn't just about being a nurse, a wife, or a mother. It was about being someone who sees the potential for redemption in every person and the possibility of a new beginning in every difficult situation. The Second Chance Foundation had expanded to other cities. Amanda had become a respected social entrepreneur. Michael ran one of the largest delivery cooperatives in the Midwest. Emily dreamed of becoming a doctor to help families like we help. Ethan was growing up surrounded by love and examples of solidarity. And Jessica had discovered that saving a life sometimes means much more than applying first aid. It means being willing to completely redefine your own existence for the love of others. In every family they helped, she saw a reflection of her own journey. In every second chance they offered, she relived the gratitude for having made the right choices on that fateful day. The accident that could have been just another tragedy became the foundation of an extraordinary family and a mission that had already touched thousands of lives. And it all started with a tired nurse who decided that some people deserve a second chance. End of story. And now, dear listener, tell us, do you believe in the power of second chances? Leave your comment sharing your opinion. Your participation is very important to us.